are recovering.
All right, shalom. First, I start by saying all praise to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Fagadash, double honors to the elders, the apostles, and who will, and salutations to the brothers that's doing it truth and sincerity. This is, as you can see, four girls recovering after relative attacks them with meat cleaver in Brooklyn. Right, so I'm going to press play on this clip. The Lord not sparing no one. And it didn't give their nationality, but if they are Israelites, it doesn't matter what age you are. If you're not under the protection of Yahweh Shemel Shah, then you got death coming. And I don't know if this was probably like an MK Ultra event, but that's going on also. So just be mindful of that. I'm going to press play on this clip. Slack it.
Girls between the age of 8 and 16 are recovering in the hospital after a horrific attack over the weekend with a meat cleaver.
And the man accused of stabbing the girls is a family member. News 4's Erica Byfield is in Bensonhurst with the latest for us. Erica?
Well, Gilma, today we talked to a man who lives right next door. He says he's really surprised by all this because he says his family is extremely quiet, so he can't believe this happened.
It's very sad, to see this happening here in this very quiet neighborhood.
That peace shattered Sunday when police say 49-year-old Long Quinn Chin stabbed his 16-year-old daughter and nieces 8, 11, and 13. The aftermath so disturbing that we blurred this video. A day later, a police car remains out front. Neighbors still baffled.
We don't know what people could do nowadays. Society is stressful.
People who live on the block say the scene was chaotic, lots of screaming. Some of them saw the police confront Chin.
When they opened the door, the kid that was running told him 2 times, drop the knife, drop the knife. Next thing you know, shot him 4 or 5 times.
Officers recovering 2 bloodied weapons, a meat cleaver and a knife. Police saying that Chin used them in the attack. The police learning about this bloodshed from one of the victims.
The 11-year-old caller stated that she and her siblings had been stabbed by her uncle. She did not know her address.
The police commissioner says that a 5-year-old boy escaped the violence uninjured. That child stayed with this neighbor until help arrived. Today, that man spoke to News 4 in Chinese. He said he did his best to keep the boy calm. We're also learning about the moment the police told Chin to drop the knife.
2 officers discharged their firearms, firing 7 total rounds between them and striking the subject, ending the threat.
Law enforcement and community leaders say that Chin has a history of mental illness, and now there are growing calls to do more for those struggling in their native languages.
For our community, it's very hard to get resources, especially for Chinese speaking. It's very rare to find any mental service.
The police are telling us that all of the victims are expected to survive. In Brooklyn, Erica Byfield, News 4, New York.
This is breaking news.
The information I'm about to provide is preliminary and it is, of course, subject to change. At approximately 10:15 this morning, a heartbreaking call came into 911 for an assault in progress. The 11-year-old caller stated that she and her siblings had been stabbed by her uncle. She did not know her address. Quick-thinking police communications technicians at the 911 call center used the technology at their disposal to get an address from the location of the phone that the child was using. Based on that information, officers responded to 1671 84th Street in the confines of the 6-2 precinct. When officers and EMS arrived, they were led into the first floor by an uninjured child and led into a small vestibule facing 2 more doors. At that point, they heard screams coming from behind the door to their left and immediately began forcing their way to the apartment, kicking down the door. Once they entered, they encountered a man standing near the entrance holding a large meat cleaver covered in blood, and they could see blood on the floor and the walls of the home. The officers ordered the man to drop the weapon several times. He refused and advanced towards them. 2 officers discharged their firearms, firing 7 total rounds between them and striking the subject, ending the threat. This encounter is captured on body-worn camera video. Inside the apartment, officers found 4 female victims aged 16, 13, 11, and 8. All had serious slash and stab wounds, and responding officers and EMS provided emergency medical care on scene before the victims were removed to Maimonides Hospital. At this time, all 4 children, thank God, are expected to survive, but this could have before the victims were removed to Maimonides Hospital. At this time, all 4 children, thank God, are expected to survive, but this could have ended very differently. Officers and EMS arrived at the door within minutes of receiving the 911 call. Their fast, decisive action, pinpointing the location and taking down the door, absolutely saved the lives of these young girls, and I was proud to tell them as much. Seconds matter in these situations, especially when dealing with multiple stab wounds, and our officers did not hesitate for a moment. I also want to speak of the heroics of the children involved. The 11-year-old 911 caller, who herself was a victim, hid in a room to call the police, and a young, uninjured boy ran in to alert a neighbor. Our cops were removed to Lutheran Hospital for evaluation, and I visited them there a few moments ago to check on them and to personally thank them. I am happy to report that they are going to be fine. Here's a
watch the rest of this. But I see they said they Chinese. It might be Israelites. Never know. But nonetheless, in this place, this place is coming down. So I'm gonna start with this precept. So I can bear with me. All right, this is Sirach chapter 39, verse 28. It says, "There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their wrath, out their force, and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail and death, famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. They shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is. And when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word." Right, so this is a spirit that was created for vengeance. The Lord uses the angels to put the spirit on the people to do, to do things like this. You have to be right with Yahweh Shai in these times, so that you can be protected from this, man. You know, as far as the heathen go, though, if you're not a so-called black Native American, an Israelite according to the Bible, then you're not of the Lord's, and you're not gonna make it. So you got some type of death coming. This is Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 1. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm gonna start at verse 1. He cried also in mine ears with a loud voice, saying, cause them that have charge over the city to draw near, the angels, even every man with his destroying weapon in his hand. And behold, 6 men, 6 angels, came from the way of the higher gate, which lieth toward the north, and every man a slaughter weapon in his hand, right? And one man among them was clothed with linen, with a writer's inkhorn by his side. And they went in and stood beside the brazen altar, and the glory of the Lord of the God of Israel was gone up from the cherub whereupon he was to the threshold of the house. And he called to the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's inkhorn by his side. And the Lord Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark. That mark is a mark of exemption, dawah in Hebrew, upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. Me putting up these videos condemning America, condemning the wickedness that's going on in this place is sighing and crying. So if you partake in what I'm doing, through the spending power of Yahweh Shai, and and then you up the women or children that hate this place also and ready for the kingdom of heaven to come, that's how you get the mark. And you may be of the hopeful elect. And to the others he said in mine hearing, to the rest of the angels, go ye after him through the city and smite, means to kill. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Right, the angels don't have pity. They kill, and they don't, show no, they don't transgress the Lord's word. They take out and they like doing it, and they don't show no mercy. Neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids is young women. You see, it says old and young. See, they didn't die in this case, but they got injured. It says, and little children and women. See, little children getting put to death. This is part of the Bible prophecy that little children are supposed to be put to death. It says, and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark. Right, so if you got that mark, you're going to be protected from events like this. Now, they didn't die, but I'm going to get that precept that the Lord heal uh, and wound and begin at my sanctuary, the Israelites. Then they began at the ancient men, which were before the house, the elders. So the Lord got the power to send the angels to kill people, man. Should have started with this Deuteronomy first, but I'll get the message, man. The Lord can kill you or let you stay alive. It's up to him. Whether you're an Israelite or not, the angels is doing the work of the Lord, man. This is Deuteronomy 32 and 39. See now that I, even I, am He, and there is no God with me. All other gods are idols. The one true God is Yahweh, and His Son Yahweh Shai. I kill and I make alive. See, so the Lord determined if they were going to die or not. And then they said the dude was in critical, but he ain't dead yet. I wound and I heal. See, so when you find yourself getting wounded and watching these news articles and seeing people get wounded, not dying from crazy things like this, then it's the Lord, man. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. You know how they say you cannot avoid your death, you cannot dodge death. What's that movie, Final Destination? Where people were trying to escape death, and were able to escape it for a time, but eventually it came. You can't really escape death. It's just if it's your time or not, you know. So in this instance, it wasn't none of their times, even though they shot him 7 times and he stabbed them up. That's what's coming death though to you children. 'Cause the children are evil, wicked, whether they're whether you're an Israelite or not. Hmm. Sirach chapter 40, verse 38. It says, such things happen unto all flesh. Oop. Hold on. Give me a second. All right, this Sirach chapter 40, verse 8. It says, such things happen unto all flesh, both man and beast, and that is sevenfold more upon sinners, death and bloodshed, strife, and sword, calamities, famine, tribulation, and the scourge. These things are created for the wicked, and for their sakes came the flood, right? So that's why the flood came, because these people were wicked, and that was the judgment. Same thing happening now today. This next precept is Sirach. Well, you know what? This next precept is Second Kings, because you children are out of order, man. You children are out of order. This applies, this applies to this applies to Israelites and the heathen. How the Lord feel about people mocking his prophets. This is just an example of how the Lord dealt with people that mocked his prophets. Because Jake them in the world and what they push out on the news will have you be like, the kids are innocent, things of that nature. Lord not trying to hear none of that innocent stuff. Outside and shoot, more than half the time these people that made fun of the prophets, and that judgment is now come. Or they just being wicked. It doesn't matter. But this is just an example of how the Lord deal with the children that come up against the prophets. This Second Kings chapter 2, verse 23. I'm starting at 22. It says, so the waters were healed unto this day, according to the saying of Elisha, which he spake. And he went up from thence unto Bethel. And as he was going up by the way, there came forth little children out of the city and mocked him, and said unto him, Go up, thou bald head, go up, thou bald head. And he turned back and looked on them and cursed them in the name of the Lord Yahweh. And there came forth two she bears out of the wood, and tear 42 children of them. And he went from thence to Mount Carmel, and from thence he returned to Samaria. See? So you don't want to be around here mocking the prophets. This is the judgment for the children that mess with the prophets, man. Whether you are of an Israelite or not, you know. So that's precept of 2 Ezra 15. This is just examples on how the Lord, you know, if you're not of His, you're not going to be protected. That's why you need the name for you guys that's following up under Nate, following up under some type of Christian doctrine. Because the name is going to be a protection. The name is how you're going to be saved. And you have to ultimately be of the elect. This is 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, destruction to you people, as well as this world. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, that's nuclear missiles. And one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. America's judgment is to be hit by thermonuclear missiles. But before that happens, you're going to have these ethnic tensions turn violent. The swords is knives, like in this case. People going to be stabbing people up and not going to be able to run until no police or run to no neighbor in them days. People are going to be shooting people, hitting people across the face with hammers, things of that nature. You know, verse 16 it says, "For there shall be sedition among men, uprising against the government." People gonna uprise against the government, and when they uprise against the government gonna try to send the police force in. The police force not gonna be able to do nothing, and a lot of them police officers gonna abandon the ship, so to speak, and then they're gonna send the army in. You know, but that's just to extrapolate, to go into a little detail about the situation when these people uprise against their government, just like it's happening in the Middle East. It's gonna come over here. People are like the example with the whole Trump situation and all of them Edomites that went to the White House like that and invaded the White House. That's coming. That's coming back. And then they're gonna and then they're gonna eventually have to declare martial law, send the troops in because people are really gonna be killing people and they're not gonna be sparing no one. Police. It's been said. 16. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men, right? Men uprising against their government, rising up against the U.S. government, and invading one another, home invasion. They shall not regard their kings nor princes." So Trump here during the times, and Trump's supposed to be getting judged in that manner. He's going to be killed by these ordinary citizens, nor princes, the government officials, if any senators, and even if you're not even in the White House at that time. If you somewhere else and people see you, they will kill you. Even if you're some type of mega star like Denzel Washington, because that's like another prince of this world. They're gonna be at y'all throat because y'all are of the wicked. Y'all sold out for a time in a season, and y'all still alive now here today. So the Lord is preserving y'all. I see a lot of rappers are dying, a lot of actors are dying, but a lot of you sellout ass niggas that really set the standard in the industry, etc., y'all still alive and kicking out today. So y'all eventually, if y'all don't turn to the Lord, y'all gonna be caught up in this. If the Lord let y'all return to Him, because y'all sold y'all soul, you know. But it says, "And the courts of their actions shall stand in their power." They're going to be able to do whatever they want to do to you in that day. Just like this woman right here. In that day, they're going to be able to kill, eat, rape. You know, it ain't going to matter in them days. You know, they're going to do whatever they want to do. You know, It says a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Right. The city, it says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. Houses shall be destroyed and men shall be afraid. Right. So it's going to be so much chaos, death, spoils. People going to be taking spoils, rape, murder, fires. All these type of things going to be going on in these cities, in various cities. Not all of them. Different things in different cities. But men are going to be afraid in those days. These tough police officers, your cousin that got multiple bodies and shit, mob figures, cartel men, military men, it doesn't matter. If you're not of the Lord, your spirit's not ready for the coming times. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. The purge shows you that. And spoil their goods, take whatever goods they got, food, tampons, uh, uh, clothing, the movie The Road, because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. See, that's what's coming. And you children are going to get caught up in that. Long time it cannot be a man or a woman or a child of the Habashim outside. Especially to be a child in these days, because y'all ain't got no mic, none whatsoever. So you kids guarantee y'all gonna be getting raped, you know. It says, well, I'm gonna end it off in that precept. I think I got one more. Yeah, I got one more precept, and I'm gonna end it off with this. This is Matthew chapter 19, verse 13. It says, then were there brought unto him little children, that he should put his hands on them and pray. And the disciples rebuked them. But Yahushua, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, said, suffer little children and forbid them not to come unto me, for of such is the kingdom of Yahushua, the kingdom of heaven. Sorry, I'm gonna think about something else. And he laid his hands on them and departed thence. Right. So you children can get in the kingdom of heaven. You got younger brothers uh who be out on the line. You got younger brothers that believe as well as sisters, you know, or end up like these four stabbed up, but in them times they ain't gonna get no help. People don't know how to heal no wounds, do no stitches and things like that to save your life in them days. And then when these type of wounds happen, you're gonna need a hospital or something. So if the Lord not dealing with you, then you just asked out. And for you children that's listening and watching these videos, y'all can come to the kingdom. The kingdom starts with the word, so y'all can learn the word. Y'all gotta learn the word. Y'all gotta learn the way y'all supposed to be doing things. Um, what else? Yeah, you can't prevent children from entering in. You teach the children. You know. Uh, with that being said, call on Yahweh Shemel Shai. Double honors to the elders and apostles everywhere, and salutations to the brothers that's doing truth in sincerity. Shalom.